Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are in this world. I'm DJ Unification, also known as Double Dragon 912, and today, guess what, ladies and gentlemen? I got one of y'all favorite subjects, mine too. I got another top 10 for you guys and girls. Today I want to do my top 10 answers to popular video games of all time. Wow. Now, ladies and gentlemen, this one right here, shouts out to Jesus Christ. He put this idea in my head. I ain't never seen nobody do this yet. If they have, forgive me. He gives me these ideas and I just go with them. Y'all know there's plenty of popular video game franchises and video games out there. Today, I wanted to do the answer to these popular video game franchises. You know, there's popular ones like Madden, Contra, Final Fantasy, just to Fate of Fury, just to name a few. And you know, these different companies that make these awesome ideas, and the other companies, you know, because competition is a good thing. When we have competition, us the consumer always win. Remember, we don't never want these video game companies to have just one be the most popular. We need them to feud with each other. When they go back and forth with each other, we the consumer win, because they're gonna put up their best effort to try to outclass and outbeat the other one, and we reap the benefits. So today I thought of this, ladies and gentlemen, 10 answers to popular video game franchises and video games. And let's get into this, ladies and gentlemen. Coming in, ladies and gentlemen, at number 10 has to be the Tekken franchise. Wow, you know Tekken is the answer to the popular Virtual Fighter franchise. Yes, shouts out to Yu Suzuki. He made this groundbreaking game that came out first called Virtual Fighter. It's in although I'm not a big Virtual Fighter fan, but I gotta give credit where credit due, because Virtual Fighter is in the Museum Hall of Fame or something like that as one of the best technical fighting games of all time. Shout out to Maximilian, ladies and gentlemen. I can't hate on Virtual Fighter. Virtual Fighter is one of the best technical marvel fighting games out there. It runs on the Saturn and it runs in arcade. It looks gorgeous. And it was a good fighting game back in the day. I never did get into it, but to me, the answer to that was shout out to Harada in the game. It was over there. Bandai Namco was saying, man, that was a great looking fighting game. We need to make something that can compete against Virtua Fighter. Ding, 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 ding. Then in comes Tekken. Wow. And so Tekken teamed up with PlayStation. Basically, they made their arcade systems basically a big PlayStation. And then the rest is history. You got Tekken 1, Tekken 2, Tekken 3, Tekken 4. I own all of the Tekken games except the ones that came out on PSP. And don't even get me started with Tekken 8. Tekken 8 looks amazing. Great graphics, great gameplay. All the women on there are hot. And it's just anybody can pick up Tekken and play. It's one of the easiest fighting games to get into, in my opinion. Now, Virtua Fighter, don't get me wrong, although I never got into it, but shout out to all my Virtua Fighter fans down in the comment section. I think they're making another Virtua Fighter. I ain't no thinking. I know while I speak and make this video, they are making another Virtua Fighter. And I will, Lord willing, in Jesus' name, when it does come out, I'm probably going to buy it and try to play it on, do some online play with my subscribers so y'all can educate me on Virtua Fighter. Excuse me, because Virtua Fighter, you know, I fell off. But Tekken, the whole series was basically, shout out to Harada in the game. They answered that question. That was their Bandai Namco's answer to Virtua Fighter. So coming in, ladies and gentlemen, number 10 has to be the Tekken series. Get ready for the next battle.
Let's go.
You win.
Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen. Coming in, ladies and gentlemen, number 9. First, I'm gonna start off with what the actual popular game is, and then I'll tell you what the answer to it is. Y'all ever heard of a game called It's a Me, Mario? Select your player. Yes, everybody heard of Mario Brothers. And Mario Brothers is the iconic. Whenever you think about video games, the first thing, even people that don't even play video games, the first thing that comes to their mind is Mario and Luigi. Although they don't show Luigi credit, but I'm gonna give you credit to Luigi. Oh, yeah, I gave you credit to Luigi. But when you think about video games, the first iconic character that comes to mind is Mario. And Mario, to this day, after 20, 30 years, he's still around. So, in order to answer that, shout out to Sega Genesis. They came up with a Sega. Sonic the Hedgehog, ladies and gentlemen. Wow, that was their answer to the Mario Brothers series. Although now Sega is a shell of its former self. They don't make consoles no more. Well, I wish they did, because if they did, we even have more competition. But Sega now, they make games for PlayStation. They even make Sonic and Mario. They teamed up. They make games for Nintendo, Xbox, everybody. Sega's just a third-party company now. But my, if you was alive during the 90s, ladies and gentlemen, that was a great time to be alive. Don't get me wrong, it's a great time to be alive, period. Don't take life for granted. Every day you wake up and God allows you to live to see is a blessing. I'm not saying that. But man, that time in my life period, I was blessed. Genesis does, can't do this on Nintendo. Genesis does. Them jokers was going back and forth, but really, truly, Genesis was doing all the talking and Super Nintendo just was taking it. But man, that was a great time to be in the console. But anyways, I have to give it to Sonic the Hedgehog. Although Sonic the Hedgehog is a totally different game than Mario Brothers, but it was their answer. Everybody needed an icon, an iconic character, and Sonic was it for Sega. And then along came PlayStation. They had Crash Bandicoot, and Microsoft had Halo. I Need a Weapon. Y'all know what I'm talking about. But coming in, ladies and gentlemen, number 9 has to be Sonic the Hedgehog series. Moving right along. All right, ladies and gentlemen, for number 8, we're going to have to talk about Madden. Wow, shout out to EA Sports. To this day, Madden is still making football games. Wow, back in the day, ladies and gentlemen, which is messed up, I still don't see how EA got away with this. Back in the day, everybody could make a official pro football game. We had all type of pro football games, but when it came to football, the iconic football game was Madden, John Madden footballs. God rest his soul, man. He's dead now, but to this day, Madden is still being created. So, in order to answer that, they had all type of different other football games, but the one that still got to me the most was NFL Game Day. Wow, the Game Day came out on PlayStation. This was 989 Sports, and they made the Game Day games. in my opinion, because I grew up playing both of them, to me, the game day games were better. I know I might get a lot of flack for that. That's fine. There was Sony's answer to EA's popular Madden series. I think they made game day all the way up to what was it, 2004? They made a lot of game days, ladies and gentlemen, back in the day. You had game NFL game day, 97, 98, 99, 2000. And wow, yeah, I mean, it's still going to the, well, it stopped going because, you know, they can't officially make no football games no more. But Madden is still going to this day. And in my opinion, ladies and gentlemen, I wish that the NFL, the official NFL, would let go of the license and let everybody make football games again. Let Microsoft make another football game again. Let they used to have the NFL Fever. Let PlayStation make another football game again. Let's have another game day. Shoot, let Nintendo make another football game again. Let Nintendo and Tecmo team up, or whoever, and make another Tecmo Super Bowl. Although it's not official, but if y'all did not know, Tecmo Super Bowl is still going. There's a lot of fan-made rosters out there that they use the same Tecmo engine, and they still make pro football games. It's the same engine, but they just changed the rosters out, ladies and gentlemen. That's how popular Tecmo is. Now, to me, NFL football games sell up its former self, in my opinion, because all you get is Madden, and all they do are recycling the whole game over and over and over again. They just sell you the same thing with an updated roster, in my opinion. Now EA they did it now. They won't even bring Madden back on PS4 and Xbox One. Now it's exclusive to PS5 and Xbox Series X and S, which is messed up. That's them want to lose money. But yeah, I can't tell y'all last time I bought a real NFL football game, because they just destroyed it, in my opinion. But back in the 90s and growing up, there was an answer to the Madden series. A lot of y'all don't know. A lot of y'all younger gamers. NFL Game Day. Look it up, ladies and gentlemen. We got an old PlayStation sitting around. Try to play it and see, compare it to the old Maddens. But yeah, coming in, ladies and gentlemen, at number 8 has to be NFL Game Day.
Rattay looks over the defense on first down. Jones tracks him down.
That shows you what great speed can do for you. He was wide open.
New Orleans in the nickel. Touchdown 49ers. Peterson will attempt the extra point. And the extra point is good. That touchdown has the game all even.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, the next game of series I have to talk in this top 10 answer to popular video game series. I have to go with the Contra series. Wow. Now, ladies and gentlemen, if you probably ask the developers of these games that I'm about to, compare an answer to, they'll probably say, no, we didn't know nothing about Contra. We weren't trying to make our own Contra game. We were trying to do our own thing. Now, that may be true, ladies and gentlemen. Don't get me wrong. This is just a little top 10 I came up with, and good Lord Jesus blessed me to come up with. Don't get me wrong. The answer to these games, they may be similar games, but they don't mean they copied them. They, a lot of times people make games that are inspired. That inspired them to make games. Now, they do that in anime all the time. Like Bleach, the creator Bleach, he said he was inspired by Dragon Ball Z. Creator One Piece, inspired by Dragon Ball Z. Naruto, Dragon Ball Z. Although Naruto, Bleach, and One Piece are totally different animes compared to Dragon Ball Z, but they get inspired by Dragon Ball Z, and you see elements of Dragon Ball Z in there, like Solo Leveling. Awesome anime, love that anime. It's inspired by Dragon Ball Z. If it keeps going the way it's going, Solo Leveling has a chance to not not beat out Dragon Ball Z, because Dragon Ball Z, in my opinion, is the GOAT. It has a chance to compete with Dragon Ball Z one day. But that being said, never mind, I got off subject. We're talking about Contra series. It's an iconic series. Everybody knows it. Anybody that does run and gun, we think run and gun, you think Contra. Up, down, left, right, BA star. Y'all know what I'm talking about, that 30 lives code. But the answer to that, shout out to Neo Geo over there in SNK. They made the game series called Metal Slug. Yes, wow. Now, Metal Slug, ladies, my first played at the arcade. Love the Metal Slug series. They did make a collection, Metal Slug collection. I had to buy it because I love the Metal Slug games. They made a Metal Slug collection on the PlayStation 2. And although it has problems, load times, all that crap, I still love it because it got Metal Slug 1 through 6 on it. And the last Metal Slug, they made some type of Metal Slug tactical game. It's like they took Metal Slug and made it to RPG. Nope. If it ain't broke, don't try to fix it. That's why I ain't buy it. Hopefully we'll get another brand new Metal Slug game soon. But in my opinion, Metal Slug was an awesome series. Love it. If you have not played Metal Slug, pick it up, ladies and gentlemen. It's out on all the consoles. I know it's out on PS4 and all that stuff, at least. Play it, y'all. Y'all see the similarities the similarities between Metal Slug and Contra. There's great similarities there, although they probably went a whole different direction. But don't get me wrong, when I do these answers to these popular games, I'm not saying they're copycats. I love these games. That's why they make this list, ladies and gentlemen. So coming in, ladies and gentlemen, at number 7 on my top 10 answers to popular video games has to be the Metal Slug series. Coming in, ladies and gentlemen, number 6. Yes, we're down to number 6. That's good. Coming in, ladies and gentlemen, number 6. I'm going to start off with this saying. I'm CJ, fool. Give me them ducats. Oh, here we go again. Wow. Now, ladies and gentlemen, number 6 has to be the Grand Theft Auto series. Wow. To me, in my opinion, my humble opinion, Grand Theft Auto San Andreas is the best Grand Theft Auto they ever made, in my opinion. That's just my opinion now. You know, don't get mad at me. If you do, just type it down in the comment section. We can converse. You know, like two adults. Anyways, but you know, you had Grand Theft Auto 3, 4, 5, San Andreas, Vice City, all the Grand Theft Auto. Y'all know, you must be living on a rock if you don't know about Grand Theft Auto. One of the most popular video game series of all time. And shout out to my homie John. He let me know about this series that I'm gonna say. Number 6 has to be Saints Row. Wow, now shout out, like I said, shout out to my homie John. He put me on this series. I never will forget. I got a little story going on with this one. I had just graduated from high school, and you know, I just got I think I had lost my job or wasn't working somewhere, and I was thinking about getting, you know, trying to get me another job. But I think the Lord spoke through somebody and told me, you know, Double Drag, just chill for a little bit. You know, you just got through graduating. You know, give yourself a break. I said, okay, I'll do that. I'll give myself a break. And my birthday was coming around. Shout out to my homie John again. I know I don't say your name so many times, John. My bad, bro. And he said, you know what, Jago? Double Dragon, what I'm gonna do is give you this. This is gonna be your birthday present. So he got me PlayStation Plus. This is back when PlayStation Plus was in its infancy. It was back on PS3, and the first game I downloaded, PlayStation Plus was real good. First game I downloaded was Saints Row 2. And man, I played Saints Row 2 all night long. All night. That game was so fun. What was so fun about the game, you play as the main character. You know, it's created character, and you breaking out of prison. And your job is to build back up the Saints. And it's kind of like Grand Theft Auto, just in its own unique way. It's Grand Theft Auto with its own unique flavor. I know a lot of people that compare Saints Row to Grand Theft Auto, but it's different. Once you play Saints Row, just give it a shot. Saints Row 2, 3, and 4 now. That new Saints Row that they made, trash, garbage. Stay away from that. But Saints Row 2, 3, and 4. I never did play the first one. I heard the first one was good because it kept an Xbox exclusive. Why they did it, that was stupid. But play Saints Row 2, ladies and gentlemen. In my opinion, it was fun. Just fun trying to get your weight up and get your crew back together. Because, you know, you had to break out of jail, break out of prison. And it's just a great game. Yeah, Keith David. Shout out to Keith David. He voiced one of the characters on there. And it's just a fun game. I remember playing that game like one night at 7 o'clock at night. And the next thing I know, I looked at the clock. It was like 6 in the morning. I was like, wow. And I saw the sun coming through the blinds. When I play a game that long, that let me know that the game is fun, fun, fun. Dun, 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 dun. Yeah. That's why I got to make number 6 on this list. So coming in, ladies and gentlemen, number 6 on this list has to be Saints Row, the series.
That's some unfortunate luck. So you want to play, eh? I don't even see that thing.
Let's get to the docks. I can drive us out of here. Can't believe I'm breaking out of jail with you.
Yeah, it's a dream come true. Now let's move.
Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, we had down to number 5. Oh man, we had the halfway point. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, thank you guys and girls for sticking with me for so long. Now, let's get this. Coming in, ladies and gentlemen, number 5 we got to start off with Guardians of the Galaxy. Not Guardians of the Galaxy, I'm tripping. What's the name of that game? It's on the Saturn. I can't remember that name. Guardian Heroes. Let me get it straight. Wow. Now, Guardian Heroes was a very unique beat 'em up. It had beat 'em up elements, of course, RPG elements, and it was a very unique beat 'em up, ladies and gentlemen. I was mad that this game never came to PlayStation. It always stayed a Saturn exclusive, and then they eventually brought it to the Xbox Live Arcade or whatever, and you could buy it there. I still got it on my Xbox 360, and it was a very unique beat 'em up. I never seen a beat 'em up like that before in my life, and you know, besides the fact that it was a Saturn exclusive, I didn't have a Saturn growing up. I got to give credit what credit due. The game looked amazing. Now, shouts out to Radical Reggie. This game I heard about through him on one of his videos. This was PlayStation answers to Guardian Heroes. The name of the game is called, y'all probably never heard it, was a Japan exclusive. I think Sega probably forced PlayStation to keep this game overseas. It was called Panzer Bandit. Wow, you see it in the background as I talk about it. I haven't played much of this game, ladies and gentlemen, but if you look at this game and compare it to Guardian Heroes, it's like a spot-on match. Now, most of the time I don't say they copy people, but to me, in my opinion, this game was like a slap-on copy of Guardian Heroes. I'm very surprised PlayStation did not get sued off this, because it plays just like Guardian Heroes. From what I'm playing, as you see in the background, it plays just like Guardian Heroes, and it's very unique. Just like Guardian Heroes, I guess it's like an anime-inspired game, and it looks tight. It looks tight. And if I had known about this game, but I didn't know about Japanese imports back then, I would have imported this game and been playing it on my PlayStation 1, because I had a PlayStation. If y'all didn't know, I have a PlayStation 1 that a guy, I think he destroyed my PlayStation 1. That's neither here nor there. It played burnt PlayStation 1 games and Japanese PlayStation 1 games. I would have got that game back in the day because it looked fun. Don't get me wrong, being a Sony guy back in the day, I couldn't play. I didn't have a Sega Saturn. I couldn't play Guardian Heroes back in the day. So this would have been my answer to Guardian Heroes, but that's neither here nor there. Coming in, ladies and gentlemen, number 5 has to be Panzer Bandit. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, we're down to number 3. Last 3, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you guys, girls, for sticking with me for so long. Now, number 3, ladies and gentlemen, has to be. Let me start off with the original game first. Y'all heard of X-Men versus Street Fighter? Wow, another Capcom classic fighting game. Probably one of my I ain't gonna say probably, is my favorite fighting game of all time. Yeah, the X-Men versus Street Fighter, Marvel Super Heroes versus Street Fighter, Marvel vs. Capcom, Marvel vs. Capcom 2. You had all those versus series. They made a solid versus series. Well, actually, they started with X-Men Children of Atom, but they had, when it came to versus series, they had X-Men vs. Street Fighter, Marvel Super Heroes versus Street Fighter, Marvel vs. Capcom, Marvel vs. Capcom. They had 4 solid, true versus games, and it was popular. It swept the 90s like crazy. So SNK was thinking around there, like, oh man, we need to make us an answer to that. And the answer to that is a game, lesser known game. The only reason I knew about it because shout out the tips and tricks they was covering in their fighting game book magazine called Kizuna Encounter. Wow. Now, ladies and gentlemen, Kizuna Encounter is another tag team back again. Check in direction and let's begin fighting game where it's 2-on-2. But the unique thing about Kizuna Encounter was the only way you could tag out is you had to be directly in front of your tag team. Stop playing. In front of your tag partner. And when you're directly in front of him or her, you can switch in and out. But with X-Men vs. Street Fighter, you switch in and out at random. But it was very unique, and it was actually a sequel to the game called Savage Rain, which had that garbage boomerang player. I forgot his name, Hayate. I think he was trash. I'm not a big Hayate fan, but this game is very unique. Like it, ladies and gentlemen. I finally got a chance to play it. If you want to play this game, ladies and gentlemen, it's a very unique SNK game. It's on the Fuyong collection. You can download it on PS4. I need to get me a physical copy of this, but they want an arm and leg for it. But ladies and gentlemen, this was SNK's answer to the Versus series. And a lot of people didn't know that SNK was trying to, that they had an answer to, they was in competition with Capcom. A lot of people don't know about this game, so I want to bring highlight to it. And basically, this is the answer to the Versus series. So coming in, ladies and gentlemen, number 3 has to be Kizuna Encounter. Coming in, ladies and gentlemen, number 4 has to be Hadouken. Fight that boogie. Wow. Now, ladies and gentlemen, you have to be living under a rock if you haven't heard of Street Fighter. Wow. Now, Street Fighter, ladies and gentlemen, when you think of fighting games, even people that haven't never touched a fighting game, the first thing they think about is Street Fighter. Street Fighter took the fighting game scene by storm. You got Ken, Ryu, Chun-Li, Hart, Dawson, Zangief, Sagat, Tiger, Uppercut, Balrog, Vega, M. Bison. Hopefully they won't butcher that the movie they got coming out. I'm looking forward to seeing that movie. Look like they got the good actors. We'll see what happens. Anyways, neither here nor there. Street Fighter, ladies and gentlemen, the most, hate on it if you want, the most popular fighting game ever made. Like I said, when you think of fighting games, you think of Street Fighter. Now, what will happen if the developers of the original Street Fighter game left Capcom and started their own company? Let me tell you, what will happen was they'll start a company called SNK, and guess what game they would make? A game called Fatal Fury 2, or Fatal Fury, period. Wow. Fatal Fury, ladies and gentlemen, I love Fatal Fury. I was a huge SNK fan growing up. First played the Fatal Fury games on Super Nintendo. You had Fatal Fury 1, Fatal Fury 2, Fatal Fury 3, The Road to Final Victory, real bout. If you want to play these games, ladies and gentlemen, play Fatal Fury Battle Archives. I think you can get at least one of them on PlayStation 4 to download it. And if you got a PS2 laying around, pick these games up because they are excellent games. Don't get me wrong, they are not as good as Street Fighter. I will give Street Fighter credit with credit due. These Street Fighter games, I ain't gonna say blow them out of the water, but they are better than the Fatal Fury games. Fatal Fury games are unique. Don't get me wrong, if you look at them, you will see the Street Fighter flavor in it, but it has its Fatal Fury is its own unique game, and they took the Street Fighter formula and took it to another different direction. It wasn't broke. They didn't try to fix it. They just added to it and made their own thing. Terry Bogard and Andy Bogard and Joe, Andy, you an idiot. You need to marry Maya, put a ring on Maya, put some babies in there. That's what I would do. That's just me. But awesome Fatal Fury series. I own basically all of them. Even the new one that came out, Fatal Fury City of the Wolves. It's real good. Ladies and gentlemen, like I said, this is SNK's answer to the Street Fighter series. And to this day, they still making Fatal Fury games. Shouts out to the Fatal Fury developers. Keep making Fatal Fury. And we'll keep seeing Street Fighter and Fatal Fury go neck and neck. We reap the benefits. So coming in, ladies and gentlemen, number 4 has to be the Fatal Fury series. The Road to Final Victory.
Southtown Airport.
I can't do that. Let me stop. Coming in, ladies and gentlemen, number 2 has to be the Halo series. Wow, I need a weapon. Now, the first 3 Halos was amazing, ladies and gentlemen. The first 3 I actually played the crap out of the first one. I had a lot of fun nights, lost the lead, gained the lead, running riot, killing spree. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Shouts out to my Xbox fans. This game right here revolutionized first-person shooters. Don't get me wrong, there's plenty of first-person shooters that was out there at first, but Halo brought first-person shooters to the consoles, made it real popular. And Xbox gamers, y'all may not want to believe this or what I'm about to say, but it's the truth of the truth. It's the truth. If it wasn't for Halo, Xbox would never been thought about. Halo and of course Gears of War. I gotta give Gears of War credit where credit due. Wasn't for those 2 franchises, Xbox would be an afterthought. But because of Halo, and it just says it took first-person shooter to another level, and it took console gaming, the online gaming, shout out to Xbox for that, to a whole nother level. And Master Chief, to this day, probably if I was gonna buy an Xbox back in the day, it would be because I wanted to play Halo. But that being said, shout out to Morgan Webb, her fine self. We have Fizzle the Halo Killer, ladies and gentlemen. Sony made them an answer to the Halo franchise, although it never did get on the level as Halo, but it was their answer to it. And guess what franchise that is? Called the Killzone. Now, Killzone, ladies and gentlemen, I played Killzone 1, 2, and 3. Don't get me wrong. Y'all get mad at me for this. I have never beat a Killzone game. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, I have never beat a Killzone game. But the first Killzone was so fun, ladies and gentlemen. It used to help me get over some stressful moments at my job, the old job I had. Anybody that done been on a stressful job, y'all know you're looking for any type of escape. And Killzone, the team deathmatch mode on there helped me get through my stressful job at the time. You know, God use anything to speak to you and help you. And Killzone was it. That's why I love Killzone so much. I like the Killzone deathmatch mode. But let me tell you something. Killzone 2 looked so good that Peter, I think the guy over at Microsoft at the time, Peter Moore, he had a picture of it on his desktop in his office. He was trying to figure out how to make graphics to beat Killzone 2. Although Killzone 2, they say it never did look up to the trailer, but it got so much buzz and attention, it made Peter Moore think twice. That's got to do something, ladies and gentlemen. If it make your competition think twice, that's a good thing. Now, ladies and gentlemen, if you're a Sony fan, if you got an old PlayStation 3 or PS1, it came out on all four of the PlayStations. Well, not all four of them. Let me see. The first Killzone came out on PS2. Killzone 2 and 3 came out on PS3. And Killzone, the last Killzone they made, came out on PS4. Pick these games up and play them for yourself so you can see what all the fuss and hype was about. I enjoyed them, ladies and gentlemen, especially Killzone 1. That's why I had to put this on here. Although it never reached the popularity of Halo, which probably it'd be a while before a shooter. Call of Duty might. Yeah, Call of Duty has outreached Halo, and Killzone, I don't think it will, but it was Sony's answer to the Halo franchise. Shout out to Sony for trying to put up a competition, a little bit of fight over there. Coming in, ladies and gentlemen, number 2 has to be the Killzone franchise. All right, ladies and gentlemen, and the number 1 answer to the most popular games of all time is, before I get into that, let me tell you what the most, number 1 on this list. Shout out to Capcom again. Wow, now Final Fight. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, a lot of people out there know Final Fight. When you think of beat 'em ups, it's one of the first beat 'em ups you think about. It was so popular, Final Fight ended up making 3 games. And they ended up making a console port of it. And the console port of it was on the Super Nintendo, but a lot of folks don't know this. For some reason, I don't know why people don't know this. The Super Nintendo port of Final Fight was butchered. It was garbage. They took away the 2-player, and it was 1-player, and they just cut it back, and it was a shell of its former self. But once again, where Capcom dropped the ball, in comes Sega. Shout out to Sega, Yuzo Koshiro in the game. They made their own beat 'em up. And because of Final Fight, because Super Nintendo, they had to beat 'em up on lock. Sega like, man, we got to make our own beat 'em up. We got to come up with our own thing and try to outclass Super Nintendo at the time. The Super Nintendo, the Final Fight 2 and 3 are still Super Nintendo exclusives to this day. Yeah, they never did come out on any other system. They need to do a remaster of those, really and truly. But that's neither here nor there. They made Streets of Rage, and wow, Streets of Rage, not only, in my opinion, is a better game, Streets of Rage 1, and the franchise is better. They made it 2 players off the bat. You can play with Axel and Blaze, Hard, and Adam. Pick from those 3, and they made a 2-player co-op beat 'em up. And the first Final Fight was not co-op on Super Nintendo. It was not. Now, second Final Fight, they made up for it and made it co-op. Shouts out to Sexy Marky Hart. And Streets of Rage 2. If y'all don't know about Streets of Rage 2, you must be living on a rock. It's still one of the best beat 'em ups of all time, in my opinion. It has Skate, my boy Skate, Axel, Max, Backbreaker, Blaze again, Hard. And you had Streets of Rage 3, which don't get much credit, but you had who we had? Skate again. They all call him Sammy over there in Japan. Dr. Zan, Blaze, Hard, and who else? Skate, Axel, Blaze, Dr. Zan. I remember there's a couple of secret characters in there. Then you had the world famous, which is real great now because you know you can get that on any console. Streets of Rage 4, which is continuing the franchise. And to me, Streets of Rage outclassed Final Fight in every which way. And you know, to be honest with you guys and girls, we would have never got a Streets of Rage series if Super Nintendo, Capcom haven't never dropped the ball. If they had never dropped the ball with Final Fight on the Super Nintendo, Sega probably wouldn't even thought about making a beat 'em up series. Cause you're like, man, we got to offer gamers something that, you know, where two people can play. Cause the first Final Fight on Super Nintendo, if you did not know, it was one player. And another trash that they did, they left out Guy. And then they had the audacity, ladies and gentlemen, to make another version of the game where they left out Cody. They never did put all three of them together in the first Final Fight on Super Nintendo. They made an exclusive blockbuster rental version where you can play with Guy and Hagar. Then the original one, you're going to play with Cody and Hagar, which is crazy. But thanks be to God that the next Final Fight they made it right. They made it, you know, two-player co-op. But they dropped the ball in the first one. When they dropped the ball, Sega picked the ball back up and was running. And Streets of Rage is an amazing series. Pick Streets of Rage up, ladies and gentlemen. It's out on every console imaginable. If you are a beat 'em up fan, you need to have Streets of Rage in your collection. There's an awesome collection to have, ladies and gentlemen. I love the Streets of Rage series. And even the remake is awesome. The remake, for the longest time, was going to be my Streets of Rage 4, but hey, Sega got their foot out of behind and made an official Streets of Rage 4, which is amazing. But yeah. That about wraps it up, ladies and gentlemen, for my top 10 answers to popular video games of all time. Leave comments below, ladies and gentlemen, of any top 10 popular games out there you know and the answer to them. You know, let me know about them. I'll go play them. Or if I haven't already played them, I'll add them to another top 10 list. But thank you guys and girls so much for watching. Stay tuned for more great videos like this on the way. Double Dragon 912 signing out. Peace out. Bye.